Don't grab me! I'll drag you in this!
Atlanta didn't just flare up that night. It erupted because at the center of the madness, a murmur morphed into a bombshell and a bombshell into an inferno. A hidden recording emerged, grainy, volatile, and impossible to dismiss. A voice that echoed like Porsha. A figure that felt unmistakably like Todd. And 4 syllables that blew the Bravo world to ash. I'm late, and it's Todd's. Seconds later, timelines crashed. DMs erupted. Fan accounts went silent and then screamed back to life. A rumored DNA file started drifting through private chats. Unconfirmed, unattributed, but potent enough to shatter legacies. And standing dead in the middle of the blast zone was Kandi Burruss, watching her marriage transform into a war zone she never signed up for. Because this wasn't another whisper. This threatened a home, a reputation, a dynasty. But here's where the plot snaps. Before the audio, before the supposed report, before the internet crowned its villain, there were messages. Not predictions, not gossip, not as source claims, messages, texts that don't shout panic. They breathe intention. And what you're about to witness next isn't rumor. It's the second a screen turns into a weapon and silence finally shatters.
And I just want y'all to know.
What's in your hand?
This is a screenshot of the text.
What is this proving?
From her to me.
What?
Days later. She knew exactly what she was doing. This is a screenshot of the text. Finally got my phone back on. It's been broke for 3 days. By the way, I've been laughing every day since Queens. We was turned up for real. Just want you to know I'm not gonna rape you on camera, so no worry.
Atlanta didn't just burn that night. It felt explosive, like the city itself was bracing for impact. Because when a hidden audio leak hit online, everything shattered in minutes. The clip wasn't clear. It wasn't polished, but it didn't need to be. All it took was 4 words. 4 words that obliterated the Bravo rumor mill and tore the fandom into pieces. I'm late, and it's Todd's. No explanation, no verification, just pandemonium. Within hours, private chats became public investigations. Fan pages transformed into crime scenes. Blogs flared like sirens in the dark. And in the eye of the storm was Kandi, watching her marriage get pulled into a digital battlefield she never agreed to enter. Because this wasn't just another whisper. This threatened legacies. It threatened family. And it threatened a life she had carefully built. And just as social media thought it had reached peak frenzy, a second wave started sliding through inboxes and group threads. An alleged DNA file. Unconfirmed, unattributed, but explosive enough to destroy trust instantly. Atlanta didn't sleep that night. It scrolled. It refreshed. It judged. And while the world debated, one truth couldn't be denied. The past was no longer hidden because long before a recording, long before a file, there had been friction. There had been clashes. There had been moments on camera that seemed awkward then and explosive now. And what fans are now dissecting isn't just what unfolded last night, but everything that paved the way. Because according to insiders, close to the set, the real eruption, the fall of Porsha, had been simmering quietly for months. Behind the scenes, behind dinner parties, behind polite smiles, and at the heart of it, 2 women who once shared a friendship now standing at opposite poles of a scandal. Kandi Porsha. And when the breaking point finally came, it didn't happen online. It happened in a room surrounded by cameras.
Can't stand the fact that she keep lying though.
She can break down on this floor and roll all the way to that water.
For her to make that up, I can't take that. This chick said that we tried to drug her. There's no limit to how far she would go.
I understand why she's so angry. This is something that's criminal. You can go to jail for drugging someone. You can't make this up.
This can't come out your ass lying now. But no.
And that is where the story shifted from gossip to something far darker. Because when words like drugging entered the room, everything transforms. This is no longer shade. This is no longer TV spectacle. This is the kind of accusation that shadows someone for life. And those witnessing it in real time didn't need a narrator to explain what they saw. They could feel it in her voice. Terror. Not for a plotline, for a life. And suddenly the late night leak wasn't an isolated incident at all. It was just the final spark tossed onto a mountain of gasoline stacked for years. Fans began demanding the uncomfortable answers. Why did those allegations surface at all? Who first whispered them? And why did they resurface now as a tape went viral? What seems random online rarely is. And insiders say this moment didn't appear by chance. Because behind the editing suites, producers reportedly knew tensions were escalating. Rooms grew quieter. Conversations shortened. Filming nights felt heavier. And then arrived the messages, the receipts, texts that didn't read like panic. They read like intention, invitations, movement. The kind of proof that doesn't reveal the full truth, but complicates everything. Which is why, for Kandi, the tape wasn't just shocking. It felt painfully familiar, like a cruel echo of what she says she had already endured. Public betrayals, private wounds, and now a secret threatening to shatter everything in two. And when all of that collided at once, a person either crumbles or erupts. Kandi did both. As filming pressed on, cast members tried to steady the room. But no one could halt an emotional avalanche once it began. Because when the stakes touch children, business, and reputation, the masks come off. And by the moment cameras spun again, no one was pretending.
This chick tried to turn it around and said that we tried to drug her.
You told someone that you were going to drug me and take me to a safe dungeon.
Sheree, do you hear this lie?
Leave the drug thing alone. Yeah, that ain't no surface shade. That is some deep, deep libel.
I would sue your ass if you keep saying it. I know that. You lying ass bitch.
She has the right to deny that.
You didn't have the right to stop saying that shit. I know that.
You're not even thinking about the fact that I got kids. Don't try to ruin my life, ruin my business, ruin everything. And
That moment transformed the room. You could hear it fall silent. Not casual silence, heavy silence. The kind of stillness that arrives only after something irreversible has landed. And that's when the Kandi attack footage stopped feeling like reality TV and started feeling like a family unraveling in public. And then came the part no editor could soften. No soundtrack could drown. No caption could sanitize. Kandi rose. Not dramatic, not staged, just done. And when she stepped toward Porsha, it wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't for a storyline. It was betrayal moving toward its origin. Voices shouted, security surged, names shattered through the air like glass, and somewhere between shock and panic, the cast understood. This wasn't something you resolved by episode's end. This was the kind of rupture that rewrites an entire season. And when Todd finally appeared, the room didn't react. It froze. Because when he spoke, it wasn't as a persona. It was as a man facing the reality that nothing in his world was intact anymore. If that baby is mine, everything collapses. No music, no confessional, just a truth bomb with no safe landing. And Kandi, she didn't scream, she didn't lunge, she sank to the floor where betrayal stops feeling like drama. It feels like loss. And as security moved to separate them, as producers shouted cut, as cameras trembled, one fact became painfully obvious. This story doesn't end with who's right, it ends with who survives. Because when allegations, loyalties, and legacies collide, no one leaves untouched. And somewhere in the chaos, a producer leaned toward another and whispered 5 words that would shatter the internet all over again. We have another tape, and this one exposes everything. Black screen. The cameras stopped rolling. But the fallout didn't, because when a room detonates like that, it doesn't quiet down. It just goes underground. By sunrise, Atlanta wasn't asking what happened anymore. It was asking what's real and what's staged. Screenshots multiplied overnight. Voice notes leaked into private chats. Anonymous accounts suddenly appeared with bios like I know everything and they've been hiding it. And right in the eye of the storm, one word, pregnancy, not as proof, not as fact, but as a weapon. Because insiders say once the alleged tape hit private groups, the narrative splintered instantly. There were 2 sides by morning. One believed it fully, the other believed none of it. And both camps were ready to fight. The show's producers silent. The network invisible. The cast trapped in private meetings with lawyers. And Kandi, sources close to her say she didn't sleep. Not from panic, from shock. Because while the internet saw a rumor, she watched her life unravel piece by piece. People around production say no one expected how fast things escalated after that night. What began as reality TV tension suddenly felt like a courtroom without walls. Every text was scrutinized. Every glance reconsidered. Every hug replayed in slow motion on fan pages. Even years-old moments, scenes once meaningless, were suddenly being recut into evidence. A look, a hesitation, a shift in stance. The internet doesn't forget, but worse. It rewrites, and by day 2, the story wasn't just about that night. It became about a pattern. Fans dug deep. Not weeks, years. Anything tied to Todd, anything tied to Porsha, anything ever said in anger. Side-by-side compilations swamped timelines. Coincidences began trending. People weren't watching anymore. They were constructing theories. And then something else unfolded. No Porsha crying statement, no press release, just a silence so loud it screamed suspicion. For over 48 hours, no one spoke publicly. Not Kandi, not Porsha, not Todd, not the network. And in this industry, silence is rarely random. Reporters tried contacting sources close to the cast. All got the same answer. No comment at this time, which only fueled paranoia because when nobody talks, everyone assumes someone is guilty. And then came the next twist. A message began circulating on private accounts, allegedly from someone near. Production. No name, no face. Just a warning. There's more that hasn't aired yet, and it's worse. Reddit went wild. Twitter collapsed. TikTok became a courtroom, and suddenly no one was asking if there was another tape. They were asking, what's on it? Is it audio? Video? Old? Recent? Is someone about to be ruined? And that's when two storylines collided. One cast Kandi as a woman battling lies with everything she had. The other cast her as someone who had uncovered something irreversible. And somewhere inside that chaos, Todd became the ghost between them. Not on screen, not online, but everywhere in the narrative. Every theory looped back to him. Every question ended with his name. Fans asked, why hasn't he denied it harder? Why hasn't he confirmed anything? Why does no one know where he is? And the darker the silence became, the louder the assumptions grew. Because when a man vanishes during a scandal, people don't assume calm. They assume pressure. And then the blogs released what they called a timeline, an unofficial one. A compilation of alleged events arranged to make the story feel inevitable. Messages, trips, quiet distance. They didn't prove anything, but they connected dots in a way that felt dangerous, because the human mind doesn't need proof to panic. It only needs possibility, and possibility was everywhere. Some fans insist the tape is real. Others claim it's fabricated. Some believe the DNA report exists. Others say the internet is playing telephone with lies. But here's the part no one can explain. Why are lawyers suddenly in the room? Why have private meetings happened off camera? Why has filming reportedly stalled? When reality TV goes quiet, it's usually because something real just entered. And now the audience is trapped between two narratives. One says this is a smear campaign. The other says this is the truth crawling out. And neither side is backing down. Because unlike previous drama, this one isn't loud. It's calculated. Everything felt slow, intentional, waiting, and when stakes involve family, money, reputation, nobody plays gentle. By the third night, one comment started appearing everywhere. This isn't a season storyline. This is a life storyline. And that's when a new phrase began trending. The unreleased episode. Fans are convinced there's footage leaked or not, saved or not, but captured. And until that footage emerges, no one wins. Dawn of justice because the truth isn't out yet. And the lie, whichever it is, still breathing. By the fourth night, the silence didn't feel unplanned anymore. It felt orchestrated. No statements, no denials, no confirmation, only moves happening behind closed doors. And in today's media world, when nothing is spoken, everything echoes. Because during a scandal this loud, quiet isn't calm. Quiet is a warning. And then just after twilight, a single file appeared in a private group chat. No logo, no context, no sender name, just a title for your ears only. No attachments, no preview. Only 8 seconds later, a second message. This changes everything. Within minutes, that chat erupted. People requested entry. Screens were recording. Someone's screen captured a screen recording. And just like that, the internet did what it always does. It devoured itself. By midnight, the phrase new tape was trending again. Not the original audio, not the alleged DNA whispers, new file, something no one anticipated, not loud, not emotion, cold, deliberate, steady to stage. A voice alleged by some listeners to mirror Porsha, another presence barely audible, possibly Todd, possibly not. The audio was clipped, altered, and incomplete. But that didn't stop the reaction. Context doesn't matter online, only impact. The audio didn't say anything direct. It didn't confirm pregnancy. It didn't deny it. What it did was worse. It sounded composed, cautious, like someone managing a crisis instead of responding to one. And that's what triggered something deeper. Because when an alleged leak doesn't explode, it's strategizing. And audiences don't react to chaos anymore. They react to intention. Suddenly, this didn't feel like a scandal. It felt like chess. Fans began asking, why now? Why this file? Why now? After the violent moment, why when the network went silent? Nothing viral is ever early. It's always late on purpose. And when investigators began comparing from the earlier leak, patterns emerged. Screenshots from months back, voice messages from weeks back. And suddenly, what seemed random began forming a spine, a sequence. And in that sequence, one thing appeared again and again. Distance, not emotion, not public, operation. Todd, according to observers, hadn't just stepped back from filming. He'd pulled away from everyone. Canceled meetings, no appearances, no drives, no statement. People close to production say his absence wasn't dramatic. It was intentional, and that's what unnerved fans. Panic is loud. Planning is silent. Then came the next wave, a second source. This time not audio, not text, not a screenshot, a draft, allegedly never sent, but recovered from a device that may or may not have passed through production. The email was brief, 3 paragraphs, no greetings, no signature. It read like a warning, not a message. And buried in the middle was one sentence that shattered the internet. If this is ever made public, no one walks away clean. Not dramatic, not emotional, strategic. Fans didn't dissect the word, they dissected the tone. This wasn't written in anger, it was written in calculation. And that shifted the tension entirely, because now the alleged scandal wasn't about passion. It was about control, which is something entirely different. And then something stranger appeared. Not audio, not text, video, 3 seconds, grainy, low light, security camming, a hallway, a door partially open, someone walking past. Not clear enough to identify, but clear enough to suggest something was being. And that's when the phrase door video began circulating online. It was never posted publicly, only described by those claiming to have seen it. They all said the same thing. It doesn't prove anything, but it implies everything. And implication is the deadliest kind of evidence because it forces the mind to complete the story on its own. And with the internet, that story is never kind. By dawn, fan accounts split into army. One side believed the scandal had been manufactured to destabilize Kandi. The other believed the truth had simply leaked faster than it could be. Nobody trusted the network. Nobody trusted the blog. Nobody trusted anyone because all trust vanishes when the story outruns it. And inside this collapse, one name resonated louder than the rest. Todd, not accused, not defended, just present, always at the center, like the eye of a storm. Insiders claim that during the night the new audio surfaced, a meeting occurred. Not filmed, not leaked, just rumored. And in that meeting, lawyers took over. Not managers, not PR handlers, legal team. When lawyers enter a story this quickly, it means something real is at stake, not just reputation, exposure. Because lawsuits aren't filed over speculation, they're drafted over evidence. And suddenly, watchers weren't asking what would happen next. They were asking who would strike first. A lawsuit, a denial, a release, confession. Which would land first? Because in scandals like this, silence is rarely the end. It's the inhale before the strike. And then evening arrived, bringing another leak, smaller, not dramatic. Just one sentence from someone claiming to work near post-production. It read, "This season is being That phrase alone was seismic because edits change stories. They erase villains. They create heroes. They rewrite history, frame by frame. And if the season is shifting, it's because someone wants control back. But you don't edit what isn't dangerous. You don't erase what doesn't wound, which means something on tape is shielded from the public and something else is being buried. Fans ask, is the new cut meant to expose or erase? Are we about to see more or less? And now the audience is stuck in something worse than suspense, uncertain because lies are loud. But truth moves quietly, sometimes beneath, sometimes too late, and somewhere between the old tape and the new file. One thought is haunting every timeline. What if the first leak wasn't the reveal? What if it was the destruction? Because misdirection isn't fictional, it's strategic. And when you have more than one leak, it's never accidental. It's controlled damage. So now the audience, not for proof, for permission. Permission for the network to speak, for the cast to crack, for one person to break, because eventually someone always does. And when they do, everything that was whispered becomes clean. Everything denied becomes questioned. And what was edited out becomes center screen. And then this happened. A final message appeared in a private story. No name, no brand, no verification, just 7 words. It's not the tape you think. That was it. Nothing more. And that is what terrified everyone. Because if the leak is not what it seemed, then someone is steering the fire. And if someone is steering it, they also choose where it burned. Now the clock is ticking. Not metaphorically, contractually, legally, public. The next move will not be it will be coordinated. Because by now, everyone knows this story is no longer about pregnancy. It's about power. Who controls the narrative? Who ends the season? Who leaves clean? And who gets dragged into a version they didn't write, but will have to live with? And as the district sleeps again, another notification lights up another phone somewhere quietly. And the message on that screen is simple. Tomorrow changes everything. Black screen. If you've made it this far, you already know this wasn't just another messy rumor. This was a fraction. A moment where silence, louder than screaming, every unanswered question turned into its own kind of evidence. Because when power meets privacy, something always breaks. And right now, nothing in the story feels finished. Not the tape, not the messages, not the vanishing timeline, not the locked door, not the people who suddenly stopped talking. Every new detail raises a darker question. Was this chaos or coordination? Was it exposure or a strategy? Was this a leak or a warning? Some believe the truth is finally surfacing. Others believe the smartest lies hide in plain sight. And then there are those who whisper something like that the real story hasn't aired yet. Not on TV, not on vlogs, not even online. Because behind every scandal, there's always a second layer, the one nobody to touch. The layer with lawyers instead of producer, meetings instead of scenes, and edits instead of answers. If you think this ends with one episode, think again. If you think this is just entertainment, look closer. And if you believe the final truth hasn't shown its face yet, you're not alone. So stay with the story, watch what unravels, because when the next piece drops, and it will, the narrative won't be the same when you started. Subscribe, stay alert, and don't trust the quiet. Because in this case, silence isn't peace.